Hi, welcome back to Saw Workshop. Today's challenge is going to be flattening a board that's wider than my joiner. I have an 8-inch joiner and it handles about 90% of everything I need to do. But I do have some wider boards that from salvage wood. They do make joiners that are 12 inches, 18 inches, even some of the industrial ones are up to close to 3 feet. But the number of times that would you actually use that, the floor space, it just doesn't make sense. So there's a number of different ways to flatten a board before you put it through the planer. And I've done a couple of them. I've made a sled and I ran it through the planer. I've used a hand plane and then used winding sticks to see where the where I needed to plane. But today I'm going to make a jig that uses a router, and that way it'll flatten one surface, and then I can run it through the planer. My planer is 12 inches. I hope to upgrade it someday, but so I'm going to make this jig so it can handle a board about 12 inches wide. You can make it as wide as you want, but stay tuned. All right, so what we're going to start with is I have two pieces of metal, just 90-degree angle metal. I'm using aluminum. You could use steel if you want. And these are going to sit on the side of your platform piece. But this is 1.5 inch. Most of my material is 1.25 inches or so. So this will be high enough to accommodate for the thickness of those boards. If you have thicker boards that you wanted to do this with, you'd have to start with a bigger piece of metal, like 2-inch or whatnot. And then this piece will be what we use to make our sled. But let's start. Next step is to drill some holes and then do a little countersink so the heads are flush with the top. Next, I'm going to mount those. This board that I have is just a piece of 3/4 inch, decent plywood, but there is a slight bow to it, not much, very, very slight, but the metal should help to kind of flatten that out. And as long as these two are parallel to each other, it should be okay. And I'm going to keep this about 3 inches or so away from the edge so that way I can clamp the board down there. And I'm going to mark these and then drill them and screw some wood screws in there. And for pilot holes, I always have a little framed picture of the size pilot holes that I'm going to need, because trying to remember that stuff is not worth the time. All right, so after I have those on the board, then I took some of the 1-inch angle and cut that. And you could cut it to be the same length as this, but I wanted to have a little room so that if I ever wanted to do a wider board, I could unscrew it from these and still use this piece. But this is going to be where the router sits on there. So it just has to be wide enough to support the router as it goes along. And it doesn't have to be tight. So you can have it a little loose, just as long as it's supported on both sides. That way you don't have to move your support as frequently. But then I cut a couple little pieces here, and these are going to sit on there, and I'll screw and bolt those to each side. And then back here I'll do the same. All right, so I switched out my router because this is a planing bit that was a little too large for the base of my Porter cable. So it has replaceable blades that I can switch out or rotate to keep it sharp. But we'll drop it in there and tighten it up. Slide that down. All right, and now for a little trial run. You could put like, if you wanted to, you could put like a little sand or something so it doesn't rock. You could put some shims. The clamp I think will do good enough for this piece. There is a little play there, so I think I'll put one more clamp on down there. All right, if you do that the whole way along the board, then you have one flat surface, and then you can run it through the planer. But quick, easy way to flatten some wide boards. You can make it as wide as you want, and it only takes some scrap wood and a couple pieces of metal. So hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe and click a like as well. All right, thanks for watching. Take care.